Hello, everybody. I am SunPsychic Jean, and please welcome my very special guest today, Danny Shay from Shay Tarot. Hey, Danny.
Hey, Jean, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being here and
Thank
for
you.
coming on to chat with us today. And I'm very much looking forward to our conversation. Danny had me on his channel a while back, and we just had a wonderful conversation about all the energies of the earth and the just beautiful experiences. So, what I wanted to talk about first, Danny, is first of all, how are you today? How are you doing?
I'm good. Um,
Hmm.
it feels like, or is the correct way to say it? I'm well. I'm good and well. The energies seem to be, for me, like subsiding a little bit. They're not so frantic. I'm not so scattered, although some people would debate that. Um, but it just feels like there's more of a calmness these in the energy for at least this last couple of days, and so I'm looking forward to maybe more of that because it seemed like it was just too chaotic, and
Hmm.
I'm not sure it's going to last. I looked at some astrology podcast and I'm like, oh, maybe we need to buckle up, and maybe we need to just turn it off and get back into dealing with Mother Nature and the ground energy of all that is.
Yeah, yeah, calling us back home for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, finding that peace and finding that stability with grounding,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's beautiful. So,
What do you feel about the energy right now?
I think it's very good. I think that recently had a wisdom circle on the Crone Zone, and Terry Lee was holding that, and we talked
Hmm.
about humor and and mm, laughter and humor, and the laughing yoga, and how healthy it is, and how much it raises our vibration.
Yeah.
And we all felt so much better after that show. It was really interesting. And then synchronistically, we had a show already scheduled with Tara Stash and Wisdom Seeker Joan later that week, and we had previously scheduled, you know. Speaking about joy and intentional joy, and using joy as a strategy, and it just rolled right in. So,
Yeah.
and we had planned these a long time ago, but it happened like boom boom. So now this is my third part, and it is actually my first question for you is, what brings you joy?
Oh, it's not ice cream anymore.
I know.
I can't eat ice cream. So, it's what brings me joy is just, oh, that's, huh, I'm hiccuping on that one because I find joy in so many different things. In, in, in the surprise of the path that I'm on, if that makes sense. I'm just so joyful in where I am and what I'm doing. There's, yeah, I don't know. This just sounds too simplistic, but I find so much joy everywhere. Um, so what
Yeah.
brings me? I don't know. I mean, it's all,
I
that's probably
I
the most difficult question.
Mhm. Our own spiritual evolution, being on our soul's path, on our soul's journey, and finding that one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing, and the consistent awareness of who we are and who we really are and why we're here is it's enchanting for me. It's really, it never
Yeah.
gets old, And I'm constantly learning and bringing new things come into my life each and every day. And it is really just, I know that it's my soul's path, and I know
Yeah.
that's why I'm here.
Yeah. And, there's certain things that happen during the day where um, it may not be like, oh, this joy. I mean, it's not okay, it's not a jumping up and down like joy, although some days it is, but it's this level of contentment that is that hasn't been there in the past that I'm finding right now. And I think that, yeah, what you said.
Hmm. Yeah, and it comes with validation. It comes with practicing, doing what we do each day and practicing each day and having things reveal themselves and gaining that understanding and that knowing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
The
Um,
validation is really important um, for me right now, and maybe forever, that we're on the right path. And there are certain things that I see, nature beings that just show up, and maybe it's a hummingbird sitting right out my window. Maybe, I'm thinking of something and I look up and I see a nature being, maybe a hawk or a crow that's just looking at me. And that kind of synchronicity and awareness, if you put it into a validation, there's validation everywhere as we walk on this planet.
mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, and I'm
I
more and more looking at that synchronicity and as my day goes on. So
mhm.
that brings
It's
me joy.
it Mhm, it's how we're guided. And,
Yeah.
it just reminded me, I forgot one other thing was we did and it was not planned, but we did a show on unicorns and connecting to the unicorn energy and to that realm, and that was also very joyful. So it was like boom, boom, boom. So I'm definitely on the trajectory this way. So you got me on a good day. Yeah.
Yes, it's always
Mhm,
good to get Jean on a good day.
mhm. So, how would you describe play for you? And not personally, but spiritually. Would Do you like being outside and walking and connecting with Gaia, with the earth? Do you like walking on a labyrinth? Do you like um, doing a spiritual journey while you're at home? What do you think? How does play look for you when you are, in your spiritual realm?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, all of those that you mentioned are are playful for me. I enjoy all of those. And if ever I come into a labyrinth, I walk it. It's just fun. I think if someone said, "Okay, you get to do some fun today. It's your day to do fun. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do?" That would be going on a journey. That would be dropping into space, because I don't have to get into a vehicle to go anywhere. I don't have to stick on this timeline. I don't have to, although I am stuck on this timeline. I like this timeline.
Mm,
But I'm aware of other timelines that I get to play on, and journey to, and talk to other people on that timeline, other energies on that timeline. And sometimes when I'm talking to the other energies, I mean, there's no words. There's maybe light, there's color, there's sound, vibration, and others. It's just like, wow, this is really comfortable. This is really fun. Just
mhm.
being here. I go, give me
Absolutely.
some. give me some information. And then they go, just shh, shh, just have fun. No
And
information required.
you've always had a humor, a way of looking at things through humor. You always like to lighten the mood and, point out some puns and always, lightening the mood. I notice about you, and you'd like to
Yes.
have a little bit of fun with everything that you do. And I think that's really important to have that balance. I think that when you were talking about going on your journeys, it's our creative aspect as in the soul in our human container. We are a creative being, and doing or exercising or experiencing those shamanic journeys that you experience, it's through that creative being of our soul that we're touching into, and it
Yeah.
really raises that vibration. And it's infinite. There are no boundaries there. Anything is possible. And the
Hmm.
joy and the what I find when I have my experiences is that it is I learned the lessons of the universe, the secrets of the universe.
Yeah.
And one of the first secrets of the universe that I learned when I was in a shamanic journey is that we tapped into the secret. The secret is we're boundless. We don't have any limits. Our imagination is the secret to the universe. It's the connection. It's our creative force.
Yeah. 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 And it's, yeah, there is no limits. And, I like to think of us on this web of creation, and we're all attached to it. And we're all, you can think of us being, what we think about, we vibrate on the web. But I, I'm also thinking that we are parts on the web at the same time. So we have this part right now on the web that we're vibrating. And as we vibrate here, we're vibrating to ourselves, our future selves, our past selves. And because we're so linear, we think of past, present, and future in a timeline, but it's more of a sphere, which I have a hard time wrapping my head around. But we're vibrating to our other selves on this web, which we can clear things that we may not want to be hanging on to anymore. And we
Mhm.
can enhance some of the things that we really do want to hang on to, all by how we think up here, how we open up our awareness, because we
And
are unlimited.
exactly. And it's very important when we do this through the heart and mind connection, and which, other than the ego and the mind connection, it's the heart and the mind connection. This is what brings us back to that purest state of being is through
Yeah,
our heart mind connection. And
right.
this is what allows us to have these malleable circumstances in our lives or our past lives, or even just, in our earlier life, in our
Hmm.
younger life, so to speak. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's just when you were talking um, about what brings me joy, and a lot of the thing with the shamanic journey that I like so much is that you can do it while you're exercising, because
Mm.
it's not like a sedentary practice. They use drums, they use rattles, they dance, they sing. That can all be part of the shamanic journey vehicle, and it's super powerful in that way. And so everybody can jump on and do something that fits their body, their style, their way of being in this moment, dancing, singing, sitting. It's really great.
And it returns back to our origins of humanity and how we were tribal beings and, in a community. And, these practices were, beneficial for everybody. It's really beautiful. And we've gotten, and there's no judgment. There's a reason why we went through what we went through to achieve a certain level of awareness and, or, technology or advancement in any way that we could, so that we could then at this point return back to the purest or original human vibration, and to elevate from there, or to evolve from there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was really important that we went through what we went through, and it's every experience is valid and contributes to the future. I
Yeah.
wanted to bring up, I don't know if you know who Sarah Brexman is, but she's a QHHT practitioner. And she
Hmm.
had a little short on recently. I watch her from time to time. She's really good. She said that a lot of her clients, not just one, not just two, but repeatedly, a lot of clients, when she asks certain questions of their higher self, and they say that we're all here to learn ascension so that we're able to teach each other and other races or other planets or other civilizations, other Earths. How do you feel when you hear something like that? Does that ring true for you, or does that? How does that feel for
Yeah.
you? That we're
No.
here to learn about it. Hmm.
Yeah. I think that is that rings really true to me. I mean, really true. Um, I think that there is there we're here. Some of us are here to um, be learn this stuff, learn how to deal with the polarities, um, and then there are some that are here that are going to take this knowledge, and they're going to be creating other universes in other worlds. So, you know, the ascension thing, it's, I struggle with that term just because I think it's a limiting term, and I'm not quite sure how. Um, but it feels like, oh, is there a way to get to that ascension process? Do I need to climb something? Do I need to go up? Um, do I need to go in a direction? It feels like it's up, and I'm not quite sure that that's it, but it feels like it's an awareness to of oneness, of getting back to the universal consciousness of we are all one. All our time streams are here now. This is just um, and I have to, I don't know, maybe I need a QHHT session so I can tap into my higher self to see what I'm talking about. But it feels like this is, for me right now, I am on this learning path so that I can take it back up to my future selves, back up to my star family, and go, hey, this is what I saw down here. This is what we probably should like work on so that we don't have to deal with all the suffering, all the senseless suffering in wars. Let's try to have a different way of being, and a lot of it for me stems back to going back to ancient Lemuria and how
Mm.
they were dealing with life on this planet, which wasn't wars, which was a lot of playing and healing and joy. And so get back to that. And I wonder
Mhm.
if it's all, just, oh, this is all just too nice. Let's create some havoc.
Yeah. Yeah, for learning, for lessons, for,
Yeah.
understanding. But I also feel like the ascension relates to the vibration. The earth is changing from a third dimension to a fifth dimension, and it's the frequency and the vibration. It's the frequency that we're moving up in frequency. So they call it an ascension because of the frequency, and it
Yeah.
has to do with the density and our awareness, and how how we're contained in this human container will be at a higher vibration, which is our natural souls, or our soul's vibration. And you live with your soul's vibration because of how much you tap into the the other realms there. So you would need to be at a certain vibration and have a certain awareness. So you're holding that vibration in where you are. If you don't mind, do you mind saying what state you live in? Because it used to be in Lemuria, used to be in your area.
Yeah. No, I live in California
Okay.
on the West Coast. Yeah.
And you're holding this vibration, and you have this memory, and you're here in this, I assume, I'm not trying to tell you, this is what I
No, go ahead. Go
surmise.
ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
I feel
Please.
as though you are in this world to hold this vibration, and you have the memory and uh the understanding. Your soul, you remember already. You have this awareness. It's you're not, you're already at a different frequency to help others to come to this frequency, and you're holding that vibration in the land where you live now
Hmm.
for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not going to disagree. Well, I'm not going to disagree with you for sure. But I mean, that feels right. It feels a little scary to me to even
Oh,
contemplate that, but it does feel right. I mean, maybe it's because I don't want the responsibility. I don't know. Um, but there is no responsibility. It's just to hold space.
yeah.
That's it.
You're
And
amongst
so,
many. Hmm.
pardon me?
You are amongst many. There's many
Yes,
of you at that
yes,
vibration.
yes, 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 absolutely. Um, and
Hmm.
yes, so let me ask you this. So you were talking about the vibrations as we go into the fifth awareness, I guess, is what would you call it? The fifth
Dimension.
dimension. Will will, will people in a lower dimension, let's say the third dimension, will they be able to see? Is there going to be a split in worlds, do you feel? Where there's going to be lower dimension people, higher dimension people living on the same planet, and there's going to be some of us light workers are going to ascend to a higher level and not be seen or not be affected by the lower vibrational. So it's almost like a split in worlds. Do you
I
feel
think
that?
a realm, you know how we know that there is a realm of the elementals and the unicorns and the Sasquatch. They're in a different realm. They're here on this earth plane, but they're in a different realm. They
Yeah.
exist at a different frequency and vibration. And I feel like the realm is going to change. I feel like a lot of humanity, majority of humanity, maybe, 2/3, will be experiencing this new awareness, and perhaps the other third of humanity will need to continue through the end of that lifetime, that life cycle. And then when they then reincarnate, they'll reincarnate into the fifth dimension. So I feel like there is a transition. I feel like that we're all going to start creating. We are a co-creator, and this is what I love about the creation and the soul's ability to be creative, is that we're going to be creating our own reality, our own universe, our own realm, our own vibration. And it's through, it's through understanding that we are all one, that we are all here for the
Yeah.
joy and the, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% on this. The as we are co-creators, when we start thinking, when we allow our imaginations to play in this creative arena space, we are setting out that intention and that vibration to create this reality, our new reality, our past reality. We're fixing, healing, creating all of this stuff by our intention of how we really want to live, how we want the earth to be, how happy do we want to be, how strong do we want to be. I mean, I have a thing where I go, oh, I don't want that responsibility. But then again, what if I just embraced it really hard and said, bring it on, and allowed myself to be joyful and happy in all that responsibility versus, oh my gosh, fearful, I've got all this responsibility. Maybe it's not at all a burden. It's just, what I think it was a burden because of my past experiences. Oh, I've got to get up. Oh, I've got to do this. Oh, I've got to set this. And anyway, yeah. So
Yeah, it's the ego needs to let go of that third dimensional systems, the systems that we were following for so
yeah,
many, what is it, 26,000 years or something. It's been so really long that we have been led by our ego there. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I have here that self-awareness, and that Gaia it's her own consciousness, and that we are actually Gaia. We humanity, the physical human, is an actual physical vibration and connection to Gaia. And with Gaia working through the ascension, she's calling all of us back home, and she's calling us all to ground with her and to be in harmony with her. She's calling us all to this same vibration. And it's calling us back to our roots, to our pureness, to our, that understanding of, sentient beings, and do no harm to none, take no more than you need and leave nothing behind. A lot of these things I feel like are being called back into humanity. And
yeah.
and it's either being offered, suggested, requested, or sometimes it's being demanded.
Really? Demanded? Yeah. I was
With
just,
earthquakes and stuff.
oh, I know. I was just thinking about that today. And with all the hurricanes that are coming through, and people say that the scientists are saying that it's climate change. My hillbilly brother has a thing on climate change because he is a climate denier a little bit, in that he says it's just a cycle of Mother Nature. Our planet heats up. And I go, yeah, but people who are driving around and in private jets are not helping the matter. People who have mega yachts and for one person, they're not helping the planet stay cool. So if we can do something to keep the planet cool, help it by not taking more than you need and not needing more than you take, as well as I think about us always drilling for oil. And I was thinking about the plates this morning because I live in California, and there are a series of drill points up and down the coast of California where they're injecting fracking water and methane. And so if we're pulling out the natural lubricant of the plates, I don't know if we are or if we're not, and then injecting it with water and methane to get more out, it just feels to me that we are not honoring Mother Earth. I probably can say with 99.9% certainty that nobody on the drilling platforms and when they're thinking of this is thanking Mother Earth as they're about ready to inject it with fracking water.
Right.
Maybe somebody is, but
Especially when we know there's alternatives, except the alternatives they can't charge for, so they don't, it's not known. And that this is the way it comes down to greed, which comes down to ego, which comes down to, the ego is leading the mind rather than the heart leading the mind. The heart would be the one who would be thanking Mother Earth if we needed to take a gem or a crystal from her. Some people say it's wrong to collect crystals or dig up crystals and things like that's also damaging the earth. But there's there needs to be balance, there needs to be gratitude, there needs to be honoring. And you just left and came back.
You just left.
Oh, sorry about that. So I just think that was that might have. Mm-hmm.
I said that must have been something really important that you just said, because we needed a little pause to go, what did she just say? Oh my gosh. Okay.
But there's yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And we all know there's other ways, there's other ways, there's other means, there's natural means. It's just that but so how much do you work with like the sound? Do you work with healing at all? Do you do any type of okay?
Yeah, I do. But getting back to what you were saying about crystals, as I look around my table and I have rocks and crystals and gems, I think it's really important to find sustainable and the correct practice for gathering these stones. There are minds that they're not being respectful. So you want to, and how do you really know? It's hard to say, because anybody can put a sign up. But I think that when we go grab a crystal and a rock, being a practitioner of shamanism, I go and ask. I put the stone in my hand and I'll have a conversation with it. How you feeling? Feeling good? You ready to leave? You ready to, you want to sit on my table for a while? See how it feels. You want to go on a little trip? And maybe I'll drop it for somebody, leave it for somebody in a field like that we have below us, for somebody else to find. Maybe they want to be discovered. And I have a whole thing about charging crystals and then using them and then giving them back to the earth for somebody else to use them, like infusing them with some knowledge of the past, using that knowledge and then letting them go for somebody else to recharge, get some knowledge from it. It's pretty fun. It's really cool. So anyway,
that's beautiful. I love that. And yeah, Most crystals are ethically sourced and they are renewable source, but you have to be able to stop the mining process at the appropriate time so that it can renew. But it is, yeah, it is a
Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
um, no, I think that people who work, well, I think a lot of people who work in the or the gem crystal stone industry understand that and are sensitive to that. So tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about sound and vibration. You do drum when you do your journeys, am I correct? Or do you rattle?
Yeah. No, both. I'll do drums and rattles, and I'll make funny wind noises. um, but it depends, I let my higher self decide where, if I'm picking up the drum or if I'm picking up the rattle. I'll have it next to me. When I do my water journeys, it's mainly rattling. Um, and sometimes it's just silent.
Mm,
We just go on a silent journey. It'll be more of I start out more with a guided, just to set the intention of where we're going. So if we go to the place that I call the healing dome, um, we take a walk in a beautiful place in nature, and we kind of shed our ego along this walk so that we can be what I call, and what an indigenous master calls a hollow bone, where
mm,
we're able to be filled up with the spiritual knowledge, filled up with the journey, the healing energy that we need. And um, sometimes when we get close to the healing dome, in my mind's eye, I put the tree of life near it. So you can go lean up against the tree of life. And again, all of this is asking permission from the tree of life. Can I step into your energy field? When we get into the healing dome, it's full of your guides, your angels, and healing colors and sounds. And so there could be, even though I only have one Tibetan bell, I don't have any crystal bowls, but those are phenomenal when I go into those spaces. And I'm lucky that I live next to a place that has, it's just down the street. And this guy, he had so many noisemakers, and I would be laying in this little room, kind of packed together, and that sound would send me in so many different places, so many different directions. Um, it just fascinating.
mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm all into sound, light, healing, all of that.
Mhm. I'll share with you a little tidbit about a journey that I was on one time. We have a vehicle, and we have a place where we come to, and the it's like a on the journey. You stop here, and there was crystal beds or crystal like
Mm,
lounge chairs. So they invited us to come over and lay down on the lounge chair. And when we did, we started like feeling this vibration off of the crystal. And
yeah.
we felt like we were kind of sort of floating off of the crystal. And what we were doing is we were leaving the density of our worries, our fears, our judgment, our, all of those things, all of those lower vibrational energies behind us, so that we were more in a higher state of consciousness and frequency to continue on the journey. And when we continued, we stepped on these like little things that were floating. And guess
Yeah.
what it was? It was a musical note that we were standing on, floating
Uh,
up. And do you know why it was a musical note? Because it was a frequency.
Yeah.
We were raising, it was a frequency and a vibration. Music, math, frequency, spirituality, it's all together. It
Yeah.
blew my mind. And this was my spirit guides, our spirit guides were leading us. It was the most, and this every day, this is available to all of us.
Yeah. Every day. Every day. It's, I find it very joyful when I do these journeys and somebody comes back with some feedback. So I'm a huge water guy. I mean, I love being around in underneath the water. And I would take these journeys on a dive trip without the heaviness of scuba tanks.
Oh,
And we would, I know, very cool, would go into the water and would acclimate to the water, beings around us, and things would come to us, octopus, dolphins, whales, which is like, how awesome is that? And then we would go into the depths, and a lot of us found ourselves in Atlantis or Lemuria. And then I'd ask them to find a room, a doorway, and they would go into a crystal room where they would lay down and feel that same thing that you were talking about.
it is no coincidence. There is a place for us to change that vibration. They invite us to these places, and I've heard other people have similar um, experiences that were totally creative and spirit led. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And this is why I think validation, to talk about what you get from a psychic journey, a psychic reading, whatever. When we're playing in the other realms, it's so important for that validation because we're all doing the same thing. It's not like this is unique. We
mm,
all have this ability, and we're all raising our vibrations. The people in this community, anyway, are all raising their vibrations in a way that's exciting and fun, and uh, we're a little lost in it, but we're
mm,
not. We
mm.
may feel we're a little lost, but we're really not. We're on the right path.
Absolutely. And it's available to each and every one of us. It's something innate in all of us that we just need to uncover. And they say it's like peeling an onion, the awareness, and it starts with forgiveness and it starts with self-love. And, all of these things are really very important. And it is a journey. I know that I've been on my journey for 25 years, and each time I learned a new principle or a new, concept or understanding, it peeled another layer of my old conventional, 3D uh, judgmental, self-loathing. I understand now that that's not productive, and it's not a motivator, and it's not um it's really it's lowering our vibration. And it's not because we're stuck up, it's not because we think we're better than anybody. It's because I respect and honor the divine vibration or the divine aspect that is carrying me through this lifetime or
Mm. Mm.
assisting me through this lifetime, and
Yeah.
walking with that knowledge, with that respect, with that honor, with that reverence.
Hmm.
But
Boy,
we
that can
all
take
have to.
that. Yeah, yeah. What you just said, that I mean, that was a lot. There's a lot to unpack there, and to think about that, how that affects our lives as I'm living it right now. There's just a lot of pack in there. I'm going to probably have to go back and listen to that a couple of times.
Yeah, but we're all one. It's all available to all of us. I am not unique. I'm just maybe a little bit more in a teacher role, or just I share my own experience. I'm not
Mm,
teaching anybody anything. I'm just sharing my experience,
yeah,
and somebody else
right.
will be like, that resonates, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Can I break this up? And I pulled 3 cards. I'm going to do it
Oh,
anyway.
sure.
I don't know why I asked. I'm just going to do it. But I pulled 3 cards, and I knew we were going to talk about some shaman stuff. So I'm using my Shaman's Dream deck, and I thought that that was a pretty good one. But what we've been talking about is we've been talking about the hollow bone,
Mm-hmm.
how we let go of our ego, and so that we can be, and this underneath the hollow bone, it talked about teachability. And you were just talking about, you're in the teacher role, but just sharing your experience, no ego. And then, but I don't know if we got that ego thing, because sometimes that ego really sticks around and it's really hard. So the next one I got is Vanishing Mirror,
Mm,
Ego Sublimation.
mm-hmm.
So 2 ego cards that we're getting rid of what doesn't serve us. We're getting rid of the ego that's holding us back and not allowing us to be hollow bones. And as we're going on this, I get the unmarked trail, and I
Mm,
love that this is so green. But there's a revelation that is coming to us, that we are walking on this unmarked trail, and it's okay that there are no guideposts or anything. Our guideposts are in here, are in our hollow bones, when we let go of the ego part that says you're lost. And I just
mm,
wanted to, because they're
mm-hmm. No,
sitting
that's
and talking all about this.
yeah. No, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you pulled those before we started our conversation?
Or yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. I
yeah.
must be
That's,
psychic. No, I'm kidding.
you must be.
That's a little joke between psychics. Yeah, it's
I
I
knew
love
you were going to
the
say that, by the way. I knew you were.
Um, I love the green in that last one, and I love the being comfortable with the unknown. A lot of people ask me, I'm on YouTube, and I answer your questions with, connecting to your spirit guides and loved ones and angels and pets and things like this. And a lot of people say, they want a message from their spirit guide, and they want to know their name. And I one time the spirit guides guided me to let them know that they look like you and they sound like you. They're our spirit guides have always been with us since the time we were a small child or a baby. Our spirit guides have been with us throughout this entire lifetime. You have more influence from your spirit guides than you know. Just because at this late stage of the game that we are just becoming aware of them doesn't mean they're new and they're coming in and where they're accessible to us. They've always
Yeah,
been here. It's the
right.
instinct, and we can feel their guidance. And once it's pointed out, when you get those chills head to toe, that's your spirit guides. All these things that we've always had in our lives have not been pointed out to be other dimension or a spiritual guidance. It's always been just the way it is, or just our ego. But now
Yeah,
that we understand that they've always been here, and they said that, like sort of like how we say things, or the way we behave, or if we're silly or if we're funny, our spirit guides have that influence with us. And I just thought that was profound. I didn't know that
mm,
until that message came through.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah. Yeah. I yeah, I get it. I don't know. I keep getting more and more awareness of my guides as, and I gotta, they're getting, it's getting crowded in there. I mean, there's room for everybody, make no mistake, but I'm like, oh my gosh. And, I feel like that guy on Goodwill Hunting when he's saying who his brothers are, and he just, Bobby, Billy, Bob, 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 and he just reels off these. I'm like, I wonder if I could do that with my spirit guides' names.
Mhm.
And I am not one with naming guides. I mean, I've asked sometimes, and they go, does it really matter? It's the energy that's around. But it does matter in a 3D sense, because then for me, I can call on that energy easier if there's
Mhm.
a name. So I get to name them. One time I heard a name in my early YouTube days, and so I said, "This is my angel, Abigail, and she's an archangel." And I looked it up, and I say this on YouTube. I looked it up. There are no Archangel Abigails, but that's what she said. So don't come back and say she's not an archangel. I'm just saying that's what she calls herself. I'll respect that. So they all came back and they said, that's not an archangel, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, yeah, really? And so I go back into that awareness, and I go, so what was that all about? And she goes, the name doesn't matter. You can call me Bob. So my archangel's name is Abigail-Bob. It's a hillbilly name.
Like Billy Bob or yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But there's a level of humor with that,
Mm.
that comes up. It's not all serious. It's like, maybe she was just playing with me,
Mhm.
but anyway, so I
Now,
think,
what I've come to understand is not everything that is written is known. Not everything that is known has been written. And we
yeah,
learn new things and have new experiences that have never been written before. So just because they only wrote about those certain archangels, how do you know that one never existed that they just never wrote about? There's
I
no you,
I know.
mhm,
I have one. She's not been written about. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
mhm, mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful being in this experience, being in this this change, this newness, this
Yes.
evolution, and being part of Gaia. I love calling in the directions. I love feeling the vibrations of the spirits of the earth, and respecting all of this sort of grounded and earth based, or in this realm, in this I guess you would call it Middle Earth kind of realm. So, have you? What do you feel like? I know that traditional shamanism, they work with like a lower earth and an upper earth. Do you work with those energies as well? And
Yeah.
how would you describe that?
So this gets back to being a hollow bone, letting go of your ego. There are so many people and so many shaman. I mean, shamanism's been around for 100,000 years. So there's a lot of shamans that have come and gone. So there's a lot of different ways of doing things. And so just be open. When I do a journey, I say, just be open to what you get in this journey. I'm just giving you a springboard to take off. And so there may be different ways to look at this. The way that I look at it is there's an upper world, a middle world, and a lower world. And the lower world is where you can talk to your helping spirits, your power animals, and that's just a direction that you can go to. You can still get them from the upper world, but that's kind of where they reside. The upper world is where you get in touch with your helping spirits, your Bobs, if you were, Archangel Abigail Bob.
Right.
You talk to maybe an ascended master. You go up and, hey, I need a higher guidance. So you can go up there to talk to them. And the middle world is where the elementals are. That is where the 3D earth is. There may be a lot of trickster energy that can show up in the middle world. And that's where it's important to keep your protections up. And if you let's say if you're meeting somebody in one of these worlds and your intention is to go is to get your helping spirit or a power animal for this time, and in your mind's eye you see a deer, you go, are you my power animal? And they may look at you and walk away, or kind of shake their head, walk away as if to follow me, and they'll bring you to your power animal. Are you my? And then you have a conversation. Are you my power animal? And you may, even though you're asking the question in your own mind's eye, their answer may be a symbol or a sound or something that just resonates with you. And then you start that relationship from there. And you can ask them their name, if maybe they'll give it to you at that time or not. But then we go back and play in that energy, in that awareness again and again, so that we have a relationship with them. So that's what I do.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. It's enchanting, it's magical, yet it is so very healing, helpful, and helps us to understand and gain this awareness of our our existence here in this world. It helps to make sense of this 3D existence, and a little bit more understanding, and a little bit more sort of forgiveness or understanding with those people, those others around us, those beings around us.
Yeah. And the other thing too, that when we're dealing with the 4 directions, you said, I like to add Father Sky and Mother Earth and us to the mix. So there's really in 7 directions. And of course, I put myself in the center of all this because I am the center of my own universe. But when we travel up to the upper world, that's where I tap into the galactic energy. And that's a whole big realm up there that it's just huge energy up there. I mean, it's as big as the lower world. It's anyway.
Infinite, for sure. Yeah. It's infinite, and just as exciting, and it has a lot to teach us there as well. And all of it is a mirror back to our own soul, and our own soul is the same soul of humanity. We are all the same soul. We are all the same consciousness. And that would be probably a better way of explaining it. We are all the same consciousness. And the more we can understand that we are one consciousness, and to work together, well, not work together, but, just to understand one another, and to have, compassion, I think is important. When appropriate, when and where appropriate, because we are still in the 3D world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that we are at an hour already. I'm only halfway through the
Ooh,
questions. So I just wanted to say, is there
who's
anything else?
who's been talking more, you or me? We should have like chess. We should.
Word counts. Yeah, I know. I know.
I mean,
Sorry, Dan.
these conversations that I have with you are so fascinating, and it just opens up more of the universal consciousness that we all should be um, embracing. And I say that mainly for me, that I should be embracing more of it. And every day it feels like I am, like we are, because it's all unity consciousness. We are all on this bus together, and we're opening up so beautifully. This is an amazing time if we allow it to be.
Mhm. Absolutely. And each of us, we want to be authentic. We want to be our unique self. And some people may, play cello. Some of us may run, be a runner. Some of us may be a painter. Whatever the creative way that you like to express your soul's vibration will help us to evolve. Will help us to gain that one love, that one unconditional love consciousness, I feel. So whatever it is for you, just because I find, psychic and mediumship and spirituality, it doesn't mean that that's the only path. There's many paths to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think art and music and is and all the arts, all the creative endeavors, and whatever that means for you. I mean, it could be running is a creative endeavor, um, but that just all opens up our awareness. And yeah, we don't have to be labeled as one thing.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you very much, Danny. I really appreciate your time, your wisdom, your openness, and your humor, especially. And I hope to do this again really soon.
Yeah, well, thank you, Gene. This has been an honor. Thank you for inviting me on.
I hope you come back. Take care. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye, everybody.